Springfield, Illinois, August 11th, 1846. Mr. Ford, I see in your paper of the 8th a communication in relation to myself, of which it is perhaps expected of me to take some notice. Shortly before starting on my tour through yours and the other northern counties of the district, I was informed by a letter from Jacksonville that Mr. Cartwright was whispering the charge of infidelity against me in that quarter. I at once wrote a contradiction of it, and sent it to my friends there, with the request that they should publish it or not, as in their discretion they might think proper, having in view the extent of the circulation of the charge, as also the extent of the credence it might be receiving. They did not publish it. After my return from your part of the district, I was informed that he had been putting the same charge in circulation against me in some of the neighborhoods in our own, and 1 or 2 of the adjoining counties. I believe 9 persons out of 10 had not heard of the charge at all, and, in a word, its extent of circulation was just as to make a public notice of it appear uncalled for, while it was not entirely safe to leave it unnoticed. After some reflection, I published in the little handbill herewith enclosed, and sent it to the neighborhoods above referred to. I have little doubt now that to make the same charge, to slyly sow the seed in select spots, was the chief object of his mission through your part of the district, at a time when he knew I could not contradict him, either in person or by letter before the election, and, from the election returns in your county, being so different from what they are in parts where Mr. Cartwright and I are both well known, I incline to the belief that he has succeeded in deceiving some honest men there. As to Mr. Woodward, our worthy commissioner from Henry, spoken of by your correspondent, I must say it is a little singular that he should know so much about me, while, if I ever saw him, or heard of him, save in the communication in your paper, I have forgotten it. If Mr. Woodward has given such assurance of my character as your correspondent asserts, I can still suppose him to be a worthy man. He may have believed what he said, but there is, even in that charitable view of his case, one lesson in morals which he might, not without profit, learn of even me, and that is, never to add the weight of his character to a charge against his fellow man without knowing it to be true. I believe it is an established maxim in morals that he who makes an assertion without knowing whether it is true or false is guilty of falsehood, and the accidental truth of the assertion does not justify or excuse him. This maxim ought to be particularly held in view when we contemplate an attack upon the reputation of our neighbor. I suspect it will turn out that Mr. Woodward got his information in relation to me from Mr. Cartwright, and I here aver that he, Cartwright, never heard me utter a word in any way indicating my opinions on religious matters in his life. It is my wish that you give this letter, together with the accompanying handbill, a place in your paper. Yours truly, Abraham Lincoln. Handbill replying to charges of infidelity. To the voters of the 7th Congressional District. Fellow citizens, a charge having got into circulation in some of the neighborhoods of this district, in substance that I am an open scoffer at Christianity, I have by the advice of some friends concluded to notice the subject in this form. That I am not a member of any Christian church is true, but I have never denied the truth of the Scriptures, and I have never spoken with intentional disrespect of religion in general, or any denomination of Christians in particular. It is true that in early life I was inclined to believe in what I understood is called the doctrine of necessity, that is, that the human mind is impelled to action, or held in rest by some power, over which the mind itself has no control. And I have sometimes, with 1, 2, or 3, but never publicly, tried to maintain this opinion in argument. The habit of arguing thus, however, I have entirely left off for more than 5 years. And I add here, I have always understood this same opinion to be held by several of the Christian denominations. The foregoing is the whole truth, briefly stated, in relation to myself, upon this subject. I do not think I could myself, be brought to support a man for office, whom I knew to be an open enemy of, and scoffer at, religion, leaving the higher matter of eternal consequences between him and his Maker. I still do not think any man has the right thus to insult the feelings and injure the morals, or the community in which he may live. If, then, I was guilty of such conduct, I should blame no man who should condemn me for it, but I do blame those, whoever they may be, who falsely put such a charge in circulation against me. Abraham Lincoln, July 31st, 1846. Springfield, Illinois, August 15th, 1855. Honorable George Robertson, Lexington, Kentucky. My dear sir, the volume you left for me has been received. I am really grateful for the honor of your kind remembrance, as well as for the book. The partial reading I have already given it has afforded me much of both pleasure and instruction. It was new to me that the exact question which led to the Missouri Compromise had arisen before it arose in regard to Missouri, and that you had taken so prominent a part in it. Your short but able and patriotic speech upon that occasion has not been improved upon since by those holding the same views, and, with all the lights you then had, the views you took appear to me as very reasonable. You were not a friend of slavery in the abstract. In that speech you spoke of the peaceful extinction of slavery, and used other expressions indicating your belief that the thing was, at some time, to have an end. Since then, we have had 36 years of experience, and this experience has demonstrated, I think, that there is no peaceful extinction of slavery in prospect for us. The single failure of Henry Clay and other good and great men in 1849 to effect anything in favor of gradual emancipation in Kentucky, together with 1,000 other signs, extinguishes the hope utterly. On the question of liberty as a principle, we are not what we have been. When we were the political slaves of King George and wanted to be free, we called the maxim that all men are created equal a self-evident truth. But now, when we have grown fat and have lost all dread of being slaves ourselves, we have become so greedy to be masters that we call the same maxim a self-evident lie. The 4th of July has not quite dwindled away. It is still a great day for burning firecrackers. That spirit which desired the peaceful extinction of slavery has itself become extinct, with the occasion and the men of the Revolution. Under the impulse of that occasion, nearly half the states adopted systems of emancipation at once, and it is a significant fact that not a single state has done the like since. So far as peaceful voluntary emancipation is concerned, the condition of the Negro slave in America, scarcely less terrible to the contemplation of a free mind, is now as fixed and hopeless of change for the better as that of the lost souls of the finally impenitent. The autocrat of the Russias will resign his crown and proclaim his subjects free republicans sooner than will our American masters voluntarily give up their slaves. Our political problem now is, can we, as a nation, continue together permanently, forever half slave and half free? The problem is too mighty for me. May God, in His mercy, superintend the solution. Your much obliged friend and humble servant, Abraham Lincoln.